Can a robot and a story that is convoluted as hell fix this math equation? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today I thought we'd return to the world of SH MonsterArts. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at not necessarily all of them, because I did take a look at 2019 and 2021 Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla King of the Monsters Godzilla, both of them not that long ago. But I thought we'd return to the world of SHMA by reviewing all my other MonsterArts figures that deserve an HD remaster review of their own. And for this one, I thought we'd do what else better than Godzilla Ultima, which, if you are unfamiliar with Godzilla Ultima or what he's from, he's like, he's from the 2021 anime series Godzilla Singular Point, aka the Godzilla incarnation that was completely flanderized and misrepresented and nerfed the hell out of by that one YouTube channel. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so as far as this figure is concerned, I got this figure around the summer of 2024, along with SHMA King Ghidorah in 1991 and a reissue mechagodzilla 2014, which, to that seller, thank you. I probably will buy from you again, assuming you do list anything else. Anyway, for this Godzilla in particular, I was actually kind of looking forward to him because I didn't own a Godzilla Ultima at that point, because Ultima merch is surprisingly kind of scarce. I mean, you got the Bandai vinyl, you had that very, very limited run Playmates figure that like maybe few people saw in the wild. There was also the I'm trying to think, some Nendroid Godzilla stuff, but none of them were Ultima himself, weird because they later would make Shin. But here we have an actual 6-inch articulated Godzilla Ultima figure right in my hands, which officially takes the title as the largest and longest 6-inch scale Godzilla figure, not just Ultima, but figure in my entire collection. That said, looking back, is this figure really worth all the money nowadays? Because he is pretty hefty as far as the price tag is concerned. Or is he actually really worth it? And or not worth it? Is he worth it or not worth it? Whatever. Let's find out. So first things first, we're going to cover the accessories. And I am proud to announce, actually let's kind of adjust the camera angle here. I am proud to announce that you do get a tray of accessories. Mine's a little dusty because I kind of keep it on the shelf a little bit and I don't really like take it out, but yes, essentially you get all of these accessories. So you get alternate head, 2 Jet Jaguar minifigures, and 2 bases. So let's talk about them. And clearly we want to talk about the Jet Jaguars first because that's what's in line. So let's take a look. So first things first, we're going to take a look at these little minifigures, which sorry if my hands are covered in fur. I have a ton of cats, and you tend to get a lot of fur when you own animals. So, I mean, I've dealt with animals for practically all my life. Anyway, so you get 2 Jaguars here. So you get this one, which is a bit shorter, and this one, which is fully geared and ready for combat. And of course, holding that infamous spear that is used in the show, as well as 2 little horseshoes that act as bases. So, for the actual Jet Jaguar figures, which is funny enough my only actual representation of Jet Jaguar, they are pretty small. Like, I mean, ridiculously small. I'm gonna try and like see if I can. Oh, there you go. Oh God, it's weird seeing it in this resolution. So yeah, it's practically all smoothened out plastic. Look at that. Minus that freaking air. I hate the fur. Again with the fur. But yeah, just like a big back compartment. It's entirely not painted, which like I can understand why they didn't paint this, but at the same time, Godzilla Filius in the Godzilla Earth set was painted, so I don't see why that was painted, but this wasn't. I mean, you do get a little bit of a black speckle. Yay, paint. And more freaking fur. Anyways, for the other Jet Jaguar, a little larger, a little bit more defined features, but not really by much. Nicely done. Just one look at the side. It's got like heels. It's been a while since I watched the anime, so if I act surprised, it's probably because I don't remember it. The mold lines are kind of ugly. But I will say, this guy, oh god, he has a neck problem. But yeah, also it's not articulated whatsoever. So, for the actual application of these, I personally like to come in from behind, not in that way, you perverts, and just kind of like slide it in like that. Make sure it's kind of leveled with the figure like that. And, I might actually have it the wrong way. I don't know, it tends to work sometimes when it's at the back. So let's put it forward like this. That's a bit finicky. Yeah, that's a bit of a design flaw, because sometimes it like hinges up, but it doesn't have an hinge. There we go. Just make sure it's flush with the actual foot. There you go. And boom, you are done. Now, let's get out of zoomage mode. And let's go with the other one. It's going to be a little tricky because of how ridiculously small this thing is. But I think I can manage. Especially since, like, I think because this part here is the backpack. That's supposed to be, like, weighing it down. So it's not, like, 100% perfect, but it's just kind of, like, meant to help it stay flat, weigh it down. Okay, there we go. So, there we go. We got the Jet Jaguars officially ready to be displayed. Now, if you have, like, the tiniest paint bristles, you can paint this if you want to. I mean, they're basically, like, tiny little paint canvases. I personally don't really care for these because, like, okay, cool, you gave us a Jet Jaguar. I know there's a bigger version out there that actually has the paint and such. But were these really necessary in hindsight? Because, like, they're meant to be displayed, right? But you're not going to paint them? A little weird, especially given the more intricate design details on Godzilla Ultima. But wait, there's more. The alternate head, of course, which, if you don't know, in the actual anime, Godzilla Ultima opens his mouth really wide in order to accommodate that monstrous atomic breath and to fit like 15 million Big Macs into that one pie hole. I guess 3 in that case, because like, look at just how alien-like that is. Which it should be worth noting, like as I show off the detail here, got a bit of yellow, bone white, kind of mixed in with the teeth, multi-rows. This Godzilla is actually the avatar of what's essentially a god, like an entity that exists across multiple planes of existence, multiple dimensions or universes. That's like what Godzilla Ultima is. It just so happens that he's in this one and he takes the form of Godzilla, which just to show, this mouth is not articulated unlike this one, which, spoilers, has a hinge here and a hinge here. So you can open the two to be about this wide. What it pales in comparison to this one, which the way you want to get it out is never been simpler. You want to just pop off the head, make sure it's at this portion of the neck. You can kind of see it kind of like chop. Oh, crap. That is a free floating piece. Do not lose that. That is meant to cover the hinge, so the ball joint. And you want to see that tiny little ball peg and that tiny little ball socket. Put the ball peg in the socket. Oh, that is also a concern, is that if you press down too hard, then everything else will kind of like spread down with it. Because I almost did that once, and I literally thought I broke the damn figure. So, I guess, like, if you're having trouble, like me, use a blow dryer, but, like, I don't have a blow dryer on hand. But if that's the case, use hot water. I'll be right back when this is done. Okay, I think I have it aligned now. God damn, when did this become so difficult? Really, like, this really became difficult to do. And I'm covered in all this fur, I'm covered in all this sweat. All for just a piece of plastic that is no more than a kidney. There you go, finally. So, you hear that click, and boom, Godzilla Ultima is ready for action, and he is ready to fire his atomic breath, which... What? Did you expect me to grab it? Yeah, that's this figure's one big downside, is that unfortunately, Ultima doesn't have a heat ray. It doesn't have any sort of like effect part, which I understand in hypothetical scenario why they didn't include one, because Godzilla Ultima does have a very unique atomic breath. It's basically just like a blue beam with like multiple rings. But come on, the Funko Pop did it. If the Funko Pop can do it, surely a figure that is worth like over $200 at this point can also pull off, right? But if you do have other SHMA figures, let me go grab one, you can kind of give him an atomic breath. This is the atomic breath from the MonsterArts 2019 Godzilla. But of course, it's a completely different design with a completely different aesthetic with a completely different flamethrower look. So as an actual like substitute, there really isn't a good way to give him an atomic breath unless you have just conveniently have a beam with rings around it. So there is that. So as a whole, are the accessories at least cool? In concept, yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't really say that they're 100% worth it, like as far as the addition to Ultima, because here's the thing. When you're buying a Godzilla figure, you at least expect some sort of beam, right? But for the accessories that you do get, aside from that unfortunate non-inclusion of a beam, you get 2 Jet Jaguar minifigures with 2 bases for them, and you get an alternate head for Godzilla. The thing about the Jet Jaguars is that they're not really meant for the Godzilla. They're meant to be paired with him, or whatever other Ultima or Singular Point related figures you have. That said, it just looks cheap, in my opinion, seeing these clean Jet Jaguar figures that are not even really in scale with this guy, and you have them not painted at all versus this one where it's fully painted and sculpted. It just looks cheap to me. And the alternate head is cool. I would really honestly say that that's a really cool addition, and I do like the alternate head. The problem with the alternate head is that it's supposed to look like he's firing the beam, but you don't get one, right? Even if you want to say he's roaring, it doesn't really work because Godzilla opens his mouth, but not like this wide in order to roar. So with that said, I'm gonna have to say the accessories here get a 6 out of 10 for me. And now we can finally take a look at the sculpt and paint, which for Ultima himself, we have a pretty damn accurate sculpt to the show, because the show is CG, of course. Well, more specifically, Godzilla himself is in the show. He's not 2D animated, which, by the way, this has nothing to do with Godzilla Earth or the anime trilogy from Polygon. This is entirely its own thing. So for the head, we have a very slim and slender-like face, with the eyes being more painted warm colors like orange and yellow with a bit of black underneath. And of course you got a bit of a gray eyebrow and a very silver mohawk of spines that look just absolutely awesome. For the actual like skin here is going to be like a charcoal black. That looks really nice as well. All the bumps and crevices along the detail, that looks really incredible. Opening up this giant pie hole of his, not as big as the other head, but still pretty nice. You do get some very, very nice detail work here. Let's kind of like open that up a little bit more. You do get like some detail at the top of the mouth, not too much, but it's mostly smoothed over because not many people are going to be looking at that. We have multiple rows of teeth, which are like 4 rows, like damn, bro. We got a ton of teeth in there. The big canines, the outer teeth, of course. Those look really nice as well. And everything just looks incredibly, like, impressive with the actual, like, detail work. And, like, the bulges of teeth down here. As for the red, I do like the choice they went with, and the membranes too. Like, as you open it, they made it so it like opens up with it and it looks natural. Like, that's actually really nice engineering. So for the bottom jaw, it doesn't have a whole lot of it. You get that gray spray with the silver kind of like spikes on the neck. That looks nice. And of course, for the neck within itself, which let's get everything back in order here a bit. There you go. The neck here is long, chunky, and segmented like hell. We have down here all of these spikes, which are all silver, and of course down here where you have a bit more like silver spikes going down towards the collarbone around that area. And of course you have all those dorsal plates back there. Let's turn this way. Looking down here as well, you get all like the nice segmented rough detail here. It's very nice. And I do like the way it looks overall. For the arms here, you do get like the very big muscular biceps and the shoulder pads, which look very overgrown. Might want to get that checked out, buddy. And you get all like the intricate little details, all the folds in the skin just look very nice and almost to a degree, I don't want to say withered, but that's because like that's more shin, but it almost looks very shin-esque with it being like more in proportion to the body. For the forearm, we have like this single row of spikes that kind of like go down here upwards and then to the wrist where it just kind of suddenly stops. I don't know why they didn't do that. Kind of aligning everything here because this part of the neck does kind of get a little fudgy. And it does kind of have a bit of a color difference, but that's okay because not many people look at that. Down here at this neck piece, this chest piece, sorry, kind of opens up and down. You do get those spikes, and then they do kind of end, which I guess that's kind of like a bit of a design gripe I have because some of the spikes just kind of reappear and then disappear, then reappear again. For the claws, we do have some pretty nice claw design here, which we have the standard four-toed, that's four toes, well, I guess technically three. We have 3 fingers there, and of course the thumb there. The claw paint is actually pretty basic for what it is. There's no like real shading or anything. It is very much one note, but you do get some really nice detail on that, as well as detail for the freaking fur. For the dorsal plates, very nice. I love how well this looks because you get all the veins and everything. It almost looks like leaves, except again, that was more Earth's thing, but here you definitely still get that. I love the amount of like detail and usage of this thing. It just looks so uniform and just so packed with detail. It looks so good. You got like not even rows of dorsal plates. You got like them all jumbled together. It just looks like, no, that's a weird comparison. I'm about to say a pack of fries. It's just like, does this look like a pack of fries to you? No, because they're all jumbled up together. Weak comparison. Anyways, moving my camera down, you get the big, meaty, turkey leg Godzilla Ultima thighs. Look at these freaking thighs. Like, you thought Squidward in that one SpongeBob episode had thighs? These thighs put Squidward to shame. Like, look at this. This is just incredible detail. All the segmenting, the detail work. There's even like a little piece up there which we'll cover in articulation. But just looks so big and meaty, all the different detail work. I kind of wish there was more color to it. I get that it's part of the design, but maybe like a dry brush or wash to bring out some of the more finer details. But we have the kind of like back bent ankle with the back penetrating toe. And we got 3 main toes here at the front, 1, 2, and 3, that are actually pretty well detailed. Like, they're actually really nicely done. Bottom of the feet, there's that and that. For the actual foot here, nicely detailed as well. Got all the nice little bumps and ridges here. It's actually kind of like flip you around. Nice. Look at that. That looks really cool. And of course, for the tail, the big part of it, because look, okay, extending it as high as it can go. Let's try and do that. Okay, I think we can. Look at this detail. Look at this tail. Well, and its detail. This thing reaches higher than most of my giant figures and playmates. This thing almost reaches like about to the top of the thigh of my Titan Godzilla. That is incredible. For the actual detail at hand here, the veins from the body continue all the way down to here, which when they stop, they kind of more like smoothen out back into the standard gray tail. But this tail is so like long, and you just get all like the segmenting and the rolls just look so good. And I don't know, it just looks so nice to just look at. A lot of the detail underneath as well is just really done well. There's really nothing I can really else say about it. It's just a very well detailed and very great executed Godzilla figure. So, for sculpt and paint, because I do believe that is about all there is to show as far as the physical appearance of this thing, what do I think? Well, I feel like the sculpt is magnificent. They did a really nice job translating the design to figure form as far as for this form of Godzilla. Do I have any problems? Well, I don't really like, this might be a part of the design, but remember, anything that's on the design affects the final figure. And as for the figure, I don't really like how some of the spines just don't lead anywhere, because like you have this part of the neck, which actually has a nice transition here where it starts and where it stops, and then it goes down, 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 and then stops right there. There's no real transition where it fades away. Same thing can be said here and down back here, and of course for the shoulders. That's just my personal nitpick. But I also really think that this figure could have maybe used a bit more dry brush and washes, because I feel like this figure could have benefited greatly from that. That said, I also think that the sculpted, the paint for what you do have is magnificent and has a lot of nice intricate little things like the teeth here at the face, the veins over at the dorsal plate, and the claw paint, even though it is basic, probably could have used a bit more shading, is really damn good. So, for the sculpting paint, I'm gonna have to give this thing an 8 out of 10. Very well done in my personal opinion. And lastly, for my personal favorite segment, the articulation. God damn it. Fur again. My cat came onto my setup, so you're gonna have to forgive me. So for articulation, we have a hinge here at the head. As I mentioned before, can go up about that far and close in about that far. For the jaw, when it's fully extended, can go out about that far and actually reveal some hidden spikes. So using the two of them together, you can actually make them look up or make them look straight ahead. However, you cannot open this jaw any further than that. This is gonna have to do most of the heavy lifting. However, that said, I did run into a bit of a design flaw with this thing, or maybe not a design flaw, but maybe just something that people should look out for when buying this thing, is that if you extend the head too far up and you push this thing too far, up, too far out, this little segment, which actually holds the entire head in place, can actually actually go in between the jaw. Actually, here, I think I'll pop off the head just to properly show you guys, because it is very hard for me to explain. So, keeping that on, see this? See that little like thing that's going back and forth? That is the jaw. Okay. Now, this part will sometimes clip underneath this part if it's pressed out too far enough. And I thought I nearly broke the figure the last time this happened. I thankfully did not, and I was able to get it unstuck, and I had a fully functional Ultima head again. That said, I would still be cautious when using that. So, just a little heads up, quite literally a heads up. So, you also get the head plugged into the neck on a ball peg, so you can actually turn, twist, go side to side, up and down, do all that crazy stuff. Nice segment with the free floating piece, And of course this big nape area, which is cut specifically so you can get a bit more like mileage out of the range. So you're able to look up about this far, down about this far, go left, and can go right. And thanks to the fact that this piece is free floating, if you get a gap, you can actually kind of seal the gap, making it very nice. For the shoulder, which we can go out to the side about this far, go in, and kind of like swivel around, not too much. Most of it's going to be coming from the other segments of the shoulder, which is a ball peg that plugs into the socket. And you can get a bit of a movement. Again, it's how much am I even showing? Come on. There we go. Nice bicep swivel, double hinged elbows. Go bend in and out, a little bit of swivel. And of course, double jointed wrists. Although, I don't remember which hinge, oh, it's this one. I was about to say, I don't know which one it was, but one of them had a tendency to pop out. So there is that to look out for. We have the waist, which let's actually like readjust everything here because I keep moving this whole damn figure around. So, yeet. We can go down a little bit. It's not like a whole bunch. That's the figure thighs, which we can go a little bit side to side with. Just kind of like bring it to the front. A little multi-segmental. And this part is also like kind of free floating a little bit, not really. But effectively you can kind of switch up the chest a little bit. It's almost like the Kiryu figure with its like around here. It had like a free floating piece, so it kind of does like the same thing, just on a much larger scale. So for the hips here, you're able to go out to the side like that, go in, and can go pretty much forward and back. However, I would practice caution when using this piece because while it is free floating, it can get caught into the figure and could potentially scrape or damage or even break something. For the knees, you can get a bit of a mild bend, not too much. I'm not really trying to force it because, well, I'm worried that I'll break this thing. I get a shin joint, a little bit of a shin here at the calf. And then you get an ankle joint, which you get, how much of that? Okay, knee, calf, / shin, and then here's the foot. Okay, there. And then for the tail, which reposing the figure back normal, all of this is pure ball joints, so you can go down just like that. And then it even sticks up a little bit. Kind of reminds me of a certain body part, doesn't it? And you can also roll back in like that and have it touch the dorsal plates, which that's very rare for a figure eight being able to do. And effectively, you can get just about any sort of pose you can get imagine with this tail. Like this is, I think this is longer than the SHMA shin. Because like, just look at this. I think this is one of the promo pics, but damn, that is a long tail. So, for articulation, lots to go over, lots of things to talk about. We're going to kind of condense it because this review is running a little long, but we're going to continue chugging along. This, I would say the articulation works in some areas and doesn't work for some. What I mean by that is things like the waist, like the actual, this part doesn't really work. I get why they put it there because, you know, all SH and megagodzillas apparently have to have it, but considering the fact that this is all you're really able to do, like there's no swivel, you can't turn it around all that far without like scraping up against the paint, like the dorsal plates back there, there's really not a point to them. And the shoulders feel like I'm about to break them every time I move them, so I would realistically not want to do that. The jaw, I'm not really going to critique that because that is more my fault, but the head absolutely is really nice. And I love the way that these the legs are done because it almost reminds me of a NECA. Rest in peace, NECA. The Godzilla line. The NECA brand is still around. But things like the feet are pretty good and the tail is just hallelujah. So realistically, I don't have a lot to say negatively about it, so I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the articulation. So for size comparisons, here he is compared to the largest 6-inch scale Mechagodzilla, the 2003 from Tokyo SOS, and the previously mentioned Godzilla 2019, SH Monsters from Godzilla King of the Monsters. And despite NECA being normally the bigger, I guess, figure, like, brand producer of, like, bigger Godzillas, the Ultima actually is a bit longer than the NECA 2003, which just to showcase, the NECA 2003 Goji's tail, I think, is about 13 inches from head to snout, so it's about this long. Moving that puny, pathetic guy. Not really pathetic, he's actually kind of a cool figure. He is way longer, like way longer. And here he is compared to the closest thing I have to a Bandai, or I guess, does a figure of the Mechagodzilla that appears at the end credit scene even exist? I'd have to look into that. Well, a Bandai, or I guess a Mechagodzilla Ultima figure. Here is the Kiryu Goji bootleg figure that I own, and a NECA Godzilla 2020, 1995 from NECA Toys. And finally, here he is with some other NECA Godzilla and Kong figures, with the NECA 1954 Godzilla, which was the first ever figure I had in my collection. Happy 10 years, we're almost there. And the NECA King Kong original version, which, as far as the scale goes, 54 is definitely nearly as tall as Ultima. He's just a tad bit shorter. But the NECA King Kong is surprisingly taller than the Ultima. Keep in mind, I have the Ultima reared up as high as he can go without, like, stretching out the joints. But that tail, sorry Ultima, sorry Kong, you are getting floored. And so overall, what do I think of Godzilla Ultima? I think that this figure is awesome. Not only is his detail super good, his paint job, where there is, like, actually good paint, it's really well done. And the articulation, relatively speaking, what more could you ask for? I would honestly say that the accessories are a bit of a dud and what are kind of bringing down this figure. But when you subtract the accessories, on its own, it's actually really well, I would say a really well-rounded figure. Do I think it's worth paying like $250 plus a figure for? No, not at all. I think that this figure is priced just under $200. If you can find this for just that, I would say you're walking home at least satisfied. That said, for my final rating, I'm going to rate this guy a personal 8 out of 10. He's a figure I absolutely do enjoy, probably for the novelty of having an Ultima, but for the sheer execution of having a great Ultima. Because when it comes to hyper-articulated Godzilla Ultima figures, what else is there? The NECA version? The Haya version? Neither of those exist. Well, maybe Haya might make one sometime down the line. Eyes on you, Haya. Anyway, so with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, leave a like and subscribe. And before I forget, for the outro, there you go. I'll send you off with some lights. See you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.